Sheepies, Sid here with another episode of Do Talking to Me's Scooby-Doo's Day. In today's vid, I'll be reviewing Scooby-Doo Where Are You Season 1, Episode 17. That's Snow Ghost, the final episode of Season 1. We finally did it. 2 years later, I finally finished reviewing Season 1 of Scooby-Doo. Should have Season 2 fully reviewed by the year 2027. That Snow Ghost, as the Season 1 finale, is a return to a more traditional formula while still shaking things up, mainly in the gang's wardrobe. It's the only episode in the original series where the gang doesn't wear their traditional outfits at all. On account of the snowy location, they wear these winter outfits.
We have all the comforts of home.
Who's home? Dracula's?
I gotta hand it to the designers of Scooby-Doo Where Are You for making the gang's winter wardrobe so distinct and memorable, especially since these outfits are only worn in one episode of the original series.
What a rundown and creepy place for a weekend of skiing.
I know.
Since this is the final episode of Season 1, I should also point out that Episode 17 is the final episode ever where Daphne was played by her original voice actress, Stefaniana Christofferson.
Now what are we gonna do?
Christofferson got married after recording the first season of Scooby-Doo and moved from Hollywood to New York, attempting a singing career, never reprising her role as Daphne again. Very little is known about the original voice actress of Daphne. From what I can gather, her final mainstream appearance in media was in an episode of MASH, nearly 50 years ago. She is, as of this video's writing, still alive, but has never given an interview, and no recent photos of her exist. It'd be nice to hear from Stefaniana Christofferson again, and what she thinks about Scooby-Doo all these years later.
Yeah, but we lost Daphne too.
I'm in here!
Episode 17 sees the gang on a ski trip to Wolf's End Lodge, and they honestly probably should research these places they stay at ahead of time, because even if there wasn't a ghost wandering around, the owner of the establishment is sketchy enough with his sinister laugh. And what appears to transparently be a transfer of illicit goods with a Peter Lorre impersonator.
Could you put the suitcase in a safe place for me, Mr. Greenway?
Mr. Greenway here is a parody of Sidney Greenstreet, an old Hollywood character actor who often acted opposite Peter Lorre in villainous roles. So, you know, they waste no time in this episode, making it very obvious who the villains are.
The Snow Ghost will get you. And turn you into ghosts.
I swear, they're gonna give this ski lodge 1 star on Yelp. But what is the villain of the episode? One of the more out there monsters the gang has encountered. The Snow Ghost haunting the mountain. Now, if you think this is the ghost of a Yeti, then you are exactly correct. He is the literal ghost of the Yeti that can fly, and it manages to look as ridiculous as it sounds.
There he goes! Flying across the sky!
In order to cement the mythos of the Snow Ghost, the gang encounters a Tibetan hermit by the name of Fulan Chi, who lives in a nearby cave.
For I am the one the Snow Ghost seeks.
Back in his homeland of Tibet, the hermit encountered the legendary Yeti of the Himalayas, who perished in a vain attempt to end Fulan Chi's life. But supposedly the Yeti returned as the Snow Ghost, but because the Yeti started out white, you can't really tell the difference between a Yeti and a Snow Ghost.
And now, after all these years of hiding, he has found me once again.
So yeah, unless Fulan Chi is just crazy or lying, that means the Yeti did actually exist in this world, but it died and continues to pursue Fulan Chi. It's one of those subtle indications in the original series that monsters do exist. They just aren't as common as the costume villains pretending to be them for their own gains. The Snow Ghost itself is a solid, memorable villain, not just for being a weirder concept, but the design is physically imposing and is one of the more visually threatening monsters in the original series. It definitely looks like you don't want to be caught by this monster in particular. He will mess you up. When the gang discovers the Snow Ghost's hideout, an old sawmill, he even tries to murder Velma by tying her to a log about to be sawed in half. And then the monster attempts to blow up Velma and Scooby with dynamite. This is the most homicidal the villains have gotten up to this point. He isn't just trying to scare these kids off, he's fine with just murdering them. He even tries to hurl Scooby-Doo off a cliff. Makes you wonder why bother with the snow ghost facade and not just buy a gun or something. The episode makes fairly good use of its setting as well, with some pretty great snowmobile sequences, but it's one of the least spooky episodes in the original series. It takes place mostly during the day, and the snowy backgrounds don't have the show's usually creepy looking aesthetic. The exterior paintings in the mountain look a little cruder than previous episodes, like this last episode of the season was made in a rush. The backgrounds are the kinds of paintings you'd see hanging up in a room at an actual ski lodge. To change things up a bit, a good deal of the episode also takes place in a lumber mill, but the setting is a little too generic. There's nothing that really stands out about this location, but they discover that somebody appears to be smuggling jewels in the mill's lumber.
Diamonds and jewelry.
And also that the snow ghost can't actually turn people into ghosts after all, with Shaggy just being covered in white paint, as if Shaggy wasn't white enough.
Hey! Shaggy's not a ghost anymore!
Of course, in the end, to save his friend Scooby from certain death, Shaggy flings a snowball at the monster, and the ensuing avalanche subdues the snow ghost, revealed to be, big surprise, Mr. Greenway.
Mr. Greenway!
Yeah, the sinister laugh should have given it away. Mr. Leach essentially would hand off stolen jewels to Greenway that Greenway would then hide in logs that would drift downriver over the border into Canada, because there's a huge demand for stolen jewels in Canada, I guess.
Then Greenway would send them down the river and across the border, hidden in these hollowed-out logs.
A lot of stuff doesn't really make sense in this episode. They try to explain that the snow ghost could fly by using transparent skis to look like he floats.
They're almost impossible to see at night.
But at one point earlier, the snow ghost was actually able to just fly across the mountain without explanation. Of course, it is possible that this flying sighting of the snow ghost wasn't Greenway. It was the actual real snow ghost that was pursuing Fu Lan Chi. The other thing that doesn't really make sense, though, is Greenway's and Leach's plan to scare people off their trail with the snow ghost disguise. It only brought attention to their smuggling operation. They would have never been discovered otherwise. They had a perfect front with the ski lodge. They didn't need to complicate things by telling people about a snow ghost. Oh, whatever. That Snow Ghost is a fine ending to Season 1 of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? It sticks to the formula while also shaking things up visually, and the monster is cool and weird, even if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I give Scooby-Doo Where Are You Episode 17, That Snow Ghost, 4 boxes of Scooby Snacks out of 5. If you liked this video, like it, and if you loved it, click the subscribe and bell buttons for more vids. I'd also like to thank these fine folks pledged my shout-out tier on Patreon for all their kind support. Videos like this wouldn't be possible without all their help. Thank you for watching, see you next time. Dr. Wolfula signing out.